All right, let's see. Let's just see where this goes. So we got to make a duplicate of our old hangman game. So I'll open up our 614. I think we did that in unit 2. Oh, that's why I can't see anything. My glasses are in the other room. I'll be right back. Oh, no, they're right here. No, those. Thanks, Deja. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give my glasses to Deja. Okay, we'll do duplicate this, and then we can go ahead and move the copy into unit 2. Whoa. Did I get it in? No, I missed. Okay, and let's go ahead and open that. So. All right, so what do we think the first step that I'm going to do? What do we think that's going to be? Create an index.html. Okay, we can do that. Index. Oh god. Okay, index.html. What else do I need to do? What else? What's my next step? A Vue.js. Okay, so we're setting up the files. So we'll say Vue.js. I agree. What else?
Create the JSON.
Create the JSON.
The package.
Oh yeah, well, we can do that. We'll create that in a different way. Yeah, what else? Yeah, index.js as well. Okay, and I heard some things about package JSON. How do I initialize a package JSON? npm init? Just to initialize one? Blast through it. Okay, I have a package JSON, and then what are the packages I want? Yep.
What do you put in it?
For initialize. Excellent question. We put init for initialize. Okay. What else do I need to do? What do I want to install? And Webpack CLI? Command line what? Perfect. Webpack-CLI. We didn't do npm install. npm install webpack-CLI. Okay. Excellent. Then what? What's our next step?
Gotta link the go to package.
All right. Who's gonna do it?
Go to
Yeah.
package JSON.
Okay.
And build webpack watch.
Okay.
Pack.
Yep.
Build webpack double dash watch.
Okay. Perfect. What's that for?
To create a watch for the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, so it's going to run this Webpack is going to be able to bundle all of our files together, right? So that we only need one script tag in our HTML. All right. So now we've got that. What else do we need to do? What's our next step? Okay. Yeah. Let's start linking our files. I like that. So let's add some HTML. And what should our script tag point to? Bundle.js. Great. Where will we get that file from? What's going to create it? Awesome. So just when we're running npm run script build, that's going to fire that script for the Webpack, which will bundle everything up. But first we need to tell, we're missing a Webpack configuration, yeah? All right, let's go ahead and add a Webpack configuration. So we'll add a file, webpack.config.js, and we'll configure this, and we have our index.js as our entry file, and we're saying that we'll have an output that we'll want to have something with the bundle.js. And we do want to be able to watch. We're in the development mode, and our source is DevTools. Our DevTools is source map, sorry. Okay. Okay, so then inside of our, let's run it. What's the command, Kong? Help me with that. We could install get ignore, sure. Touch that get ignore. That's gonna ignore our node modules file. It's gonna not put it into our GitHub. So we can write, we can call node underscore modules and slash. And this will stop any node modules. Yeah, Deja.
I mean, that's what the solution, I had an issue, and I agree that about getting ignored was
What do you mean?
like when I touch get ignored and I code it's no file and I can't code it get ignored.
Celine, can you help take a look at that? Oh, by the way, this is Arthur. This is the class. Arthur is the head of learning for nights and weekends and daytime at the moment. Both, yeah. Head of learning. Cool. So if you're wondering who that is, that's, yep.
How do you get a Webpack? Because I installed Webpack and I didn't see anybody in my list. So the problem there is Webpack. You see the folder you see, Webpack configure
Right.
JS.
Yep.
If you
I created this file.
so you create this file?
Uh-huh. We have to create this file in order to configure our Webpack, so it will know what will be our entry point for all of our files that will bundle up, and what it will pass as our exit point.
Can you snap the code?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I will Slack this code. There you go, Con. It's been Slack. Okay, and then so how do we actually run this Webpack? How are we going to run this build? Yeah. Okay. Build. Right? It has to be the key in that script object. Boom. Okay. And we've got our bundle JS there, and everything looks to be in good shape. So let's add some stuff into our index.js.
Now you're going to create a document.
Tell me. Okay, right? Perfect. So Henry says we need to add an event listener to our document to listen for all of the content to be loaded. And that way we can go ahead and grab an element from the HTML and pass that into our view class for the game. So we'll say document dot add event listener. Perfect. Do we need the event to be passed in for this one? No.
You don't.
You tell me, do I?
I always, because I have it, I just leave it.
You leave it empty? Yeah, I think for this one we won't be looking at the event. We know it's just the content being loaded, and we don't really care where that event occurred or what the values are attached to it in this case.
So what is the thing where you would add that?
I would add it here. I could just write an E for event, or I could write the entire event.
So when you're having the DOM content loader, you're adding this because it's a secondary event you're listening to?
Right. So the question is essentially what is the second argument that we're passing into our event listener method? So the first event argument is the event that we're listening for. The second argument is going to be the callback function. So this function is going to fire after that event that we're listening for has occurred. So as soon as the DOM's content has loaded, right, then we're going to fire this function. Now, the event itself will be passed in automatically as an argument. And if we add it as if we're expecting an argument, we'll be able to access it inside of the callback function. However, for something like this, we don't actually need to see where the event is occurring. We might want to see the event, like if we had a to-do list and we had an event on the UL listening for all of these LIs, we might want to see where that event originated and started to occur. But for this one, I think we can leave it empty. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and just make sure that this is working correctly. So we can go ahead and test this by writing a little message to ourselves. And let's go ahead and open up our HTML so we can actually see stuff passing. So we'll copy the path of the HTML, create a new file. Hang on. Paste it in. Okay. We're expecting a blank page, but let's look at the console. Okay. Command Option I, and we see our hello. So everything is correct. We know that we're listening to the right event. It's spelled correctly. Otherwise, the callback function would never fire. So it's always a good idea to just test the code. What? Never skip the steps. Right? Oh my gosh, yeah, because otherwise you can spend hours like debugging to realize like, well, not, like a long time, maybe not hours, but an hour, and you're like, oh, it's not even connected. Live and learn, yeah, right? Okay, so once we've got our document set up, what's our next step when we're approaching the game? What do we think?
Now you want to create some elements for display.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Kind of.
You want to create something that appears on HTML.
Okay, right. So we're gonna want to go use something from our HTML. We want to be able to go grab an element. So let's go ahead and just put a starter element in our HTML, and so that will represent the game, and we can build the whole game off of that starter. So we'll go to our index.js, and inside of our body, let's just go ahead and add a div, and this is what our game will hold. And let's give it an ID, and we can just call it hangman. Okay, so now that we have an element that we could grab, let's go ahead and grab that in our index.js. So what's the command for that? How do I do that?
Grab it. To grab it.
Mm-hmm.
Document now. Query select.
Document that query selector. Okay.
And then you put parentheses. Yeah. And quote the ID. So hang.
Will this work? Karen, you're shaking your head. Why?
We call it roughly because the ID of classes ID to be the pound sign.
Okay, right? Because it's an ID, we have to select it with the selector. ID is the pound sign, octothorpe, hashtag, whatever you want to call it, right? Oh, if it was a class, what would I do, Karen? Right, if it was a class, we would use a dot or a period. So this is going to grab it. Should we set up something so that, make it a variable? Okay, I like where your mind's at. So let's go ahead and call this element. And what are we going to want to actually do with this element? So it's actually in the HTML. If we look at it, it's just empty, but we can examine our elements, and we can see that we have this empty div. Here, let me make that a little larger.
So now we want to create like
The board. Oh, I think we have a board class. A new board class. What would the new board class do that's different from this board?
It has an element, just the game.
Okay. Why is it a board and not a view class? So when we think about these games, we want to really try to separate the concerns of what each thing should be doing, right? So previously we wrote this game for the console, and we split this up into three things, right? We had a board, a human player, and a game class. And so we had the game kind of kept track of all of the players and switched players, and had a referee and a guesser. And then we had our board, and our board, like let's remind ourselves what was on our board before. So our board took in a length to begin. It filled it up with dashes. It has a length property so that other places could access it without keying too deeply into the object itself. We made a get index. We had an is complete to check to make sure that all of the letters have been filled out. We had the ability to add characters. It took an array of indices as well as the character that we wanted to update. And that was all that the board did. Do we need to redo the board? No, right? This logic is still going to be able, we can still use this logic for when we change the view class to be the browser. Right, so most of the logic of the game should stay the same. We just need to add a different way to interact with it. So instead, let's go ahead and create our view class. Okay. And so, how do I start this off? Yeah. Class view. What's next? Constructor. Siham, what should I pass into the constructor? Element and what? So I think the game class will still handle the players. But what do we actually want to be able to view it? Something. We want to view something going on. What is that something? Maybe. We want to view the whole game, right? We're going to create this game instance, and then we're going to view it as the game continues to change the state of the game. So we're going to go ahead and pass a game in. Okay. What goes in here, Stephanie? Stephanie. This game, okay. Keep going, Steph. Perfect. What else? So I think we're only gonna have L here.
This L, sorry, this L.
Okay.
This L.
So that L and assign it to L. Great. And this represents what?
This is
The instance, right? So this instance of the view, of a view object. Okay, let's go ahead and export this. Export default, we'll say view. And then back inside of our index.js, let's go ahead and import this. Okay, well our webpack is broken. So let's figure out what's wrong. In the views I put what?
so the core view from
.js. Okay, let's try that. Okay, I have the space. Good, nice catch. What's next? Okay, we're back. Right, yeah, spaces do matter. Okay, I'm going to close what we don't need right now. Okay, done with the board. Let's see what we were doing in our game class before. So our old game class, we had a really big play method, right, where we got the ref to choose a secret word. Then we had a new board instance. We printed how many guesses were remaining. We printed the letters guessed so far. We displayed the board, and then we did this whole while loop to check whether or not the guess was valid. We were waiting, and if it was valid, we would add it to the board at the certain positions that were given back to by the ref, and then at the very end, we would announce who won or lost. Do we have any logic here at the bottom? Okay, so this is what we were using before to play. So let's go ahead and move this into our index.js so things are a little bit more focused around where they should be. So the first thing it's going to do when we save is complain, I think, right? Should. Oh, maybe not. Okay, it's not. Excellent. That's fun. Okay, so we've got our element that we're going to pass in, right? We've got our players that we want to play the game, and we've got our new game. Let's make the ref the robot for now, and the guesser the human, because I think that's what the MVP of our projects are, where we only need to guess the letter as the human. It wasn't a requirement to have the computer guess what you're thinking. So we'll just do that instead for this one. Okay, so what do we need to do? We built a view class, should we use it? Okay, who wants to help me? So the view currently, let's take a look. The view currently doesn't have much. We're going to need to build it out. Currently just takes an element and a game. So what do we think we might need to add to our index.js?
so now we could
Great, yeah. So we're going to create an instance of view. All right? So we're going to say that new view, and we're going to pass in our game, and we're going to pass in our element. And we should make sure that those are the same order that we're expecting it. Ah, no, it's not. It's different. It's the wrong order. So it takes in the element and then the game. Right, we have to stay consistent with the order of our arguments. All right, so let's see what happens here. We'll refresh. There's an error in the console, says human player is not defined. Where do we think that might be coming from? From here, yeah? Okay, so how can we define it? What do we need to do?
Import your object.
Yeah, that's right. We have to import our human player. So let's go ahead and do that. Import human player from / human player.js. Let's save it. Yep. Did I export the game from JS? Not yet. Good catch. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and export our game. Export default game. Okay, but we still have another error here, right? It says module not found. Error can't resolve FS.
You have to, what's called, no, silence the read line. Comment.
Yeah, right. So it says the read line sync. So this is a relic from our console game. So let's go ahead and remove that. So inside of our human player, we'll go ahead and comment that out. Let's see if that changes anything here. And our webpack is still good to go. Am I exporting human player? I think so, but we can double check. Because I would have had to export it for the console game. But let's take a look. Yep, we're exporting it. We're exporting it in the older way. Okay, so our next error in our console's computer player is not defined. We got to import the computer player. Okay, I like that. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll just go ahead and update our computer player. Let's save that and run it again. All right, game is not defined. What do we need to do? We got to import the game, right? Because we're calling all of these classes from this file. So if you're calling a class from a file, you have to import that class, right? So I think this is the last one. Yes. Still? Oh, I still do. Nice, okay. Thank you. Okay, so our webpack's good. Let's see if our console's good as well. Okay. Cool, right? And then we don't expect anything to happen because currently Vue is not doing anything besides just kind of setting up its instance. So that's good. All right, so let's think about what the first thing we want to happen. Hey, shit. What's the first thing we want to happen when we're entering our view? So let's look at our old game and see what we did first. So the first thing we used to do was this, right? We got our ref to choose the secret word, and we also created a brand new board. Let's extract this into its own method so that we can just call this method on the game class inside of our view class. Okay, so how can we do that? Let's call this like something like begin game inside of our game class. I'll comment this. I think this might help me extract class method in game. Okay, there's some there. Okay, well, I'll just copy it over and let's write a begin game method. So that's all this method does, right? This method just asks the ref for a word, and then it creates a board out of that word, a board of the same length. So that means that in our view class, we need to call this begin game method. So where might it make sense to do that?
So now we go to views and create an instance of the begin game?
Yep, that's right. We have to call begin game. Should we do it in a method, or should we just do it right here in the constructor?
You can just do it right there.
Yeah, because this is something we just want to run one time, right? Right off of the bat. So we're going to call it up in here. So we can say this dot game dot, and we called it begin game, yeah? Okay. And let's make sure this is working. How can I test this code? I can put a debugger, is that what you said? Where? Where, Henry? Oh, right under here? Okay, let's try it. So if I put a debugger in here, and I save our code, we can go ahead and refresh our page, and we hit our debugger. So how will I know if this game actually created a board? What can I do? Is there someone I haven't? Britt, do you want to help? Can you speak up just a little bit? So we're at console. We know that right now we only have game and element that we have access to. And in our game class, we've created an instance of a board. So let's see what we have available to us. Okay, let's start with breaking it down. So we know that we're creating an instance of the view class. So how can we look at its instance? What's the key word for that, Henry? This. Okay, so if I type in this, I see, hey, we have an instance of the view class, and I can look into this object, and I see that I have the element, which is this div with the ID hangman, and we also have this game, which is this object. So I go, oh, okay, that looks kind of interesting. Let's open up the game. And we look, and we can see, okay, our game has a board and a board object. Let's go ahead and look into that. And we can see, okay, we have this board of length 6 that has initialized like this. So because we didn't have that originally, it's pretty safe to say that the game setup is currently working. Questions on how we can come up with something like that? All right, cool. So let's keep going. I'm going to go ahead and remove this debugger because I think it's safe to say that that first method is working. So what's the next thing? What might we want to see on the screen? What maybe should happen next?
So we already have the instance of the game where we begin game or and begin game function where we have to pick the random photos, right?
Yep, so we've already picked the random word.
Okay. So now we could create another
Can we create an input or something? Yeah, right? That's great. That's a great idea. So what I'm hearing is we need to start to set up this board, right? We actually have to start to build the visual interface that we can interact with. Okay, so let's kind of think about, what do we need to have? What does this game need to show? Let's kind of write it down. See if I can get it marked. Okay, so when we're going to look at our screen, what are some of the things we're going to want to be able to see? Just throw up your hands with different ideas. Okay, so what are the underscores? What does that represent? Okay, or in our idea of object-oriented, what is representing that? Which class is in charge of? So the view is going to be the visualization of something, but what is it going to be visualizing?
The view is going to show the instance of the game.
Of the entire game, right? So the underscores that she's referencing, right? We all know the classic underscore. What does this represent? The board. Okay, right? So we're going to want to be able to view the board. Okay, I agree with that. What else do we want to be able to see?
Number of wrong answers.
Okay, so, or the things we've guessed so far. Kelvin says the number of wrong answers. It's pretty much any guess, right? Because we still want to be able to see, even if it's the right answer, we want to be able to see the letters. Okay, so we'll say guess so far.
You also want to have the guess right.
Well, that's going to be on the board, right? So let's think about what else do we need to see when we're playing hangman. Karen. Okay, right. So remaining guesses. I dig. Okay, remaining guesses. What else might you want to know? See while you're playing hangman. Yeah, the hangman themselves, sure. Okay. Anything else?
I mean, that's essentially what we just need to do that. Like, to have a basic.
Okay.
Everything else is
So let's pretend, let's go ahead and draw this out, okay? So if we were to do this, we'd have some kind of board, right? We'd have a guess so far, so maybe we write a list here. And this is, what do we think that would look like? A list? Okay, so maybe some kind of UL or LI or T, okay.
Would it be easier to make it into like a push function instead of
So you're mixing things. We're talking about, so how it's stored in the game is probably an array, sure, right? But what we need to worry about is how it's going to visually appear. So this is all HTML. Make sense?
Yeah.
Right? What does this look like? What is this going to do? Table, okay, but what is it in HTML? What else?
It's a paragraph.
The paragraph.
I mean,
I don't know. I think it would. What else? An object, not an HTML element. Div with just everything in it. It's like the same as a paragraph. Because we're going to have to keep drawing it. Right? So, Noker says it could be a list. Right? So this could also be a UL where every single one is an LI, and we're just styling them all beside each other. I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's just go ahead and represent that as UL and LI. I think that's going to keep it a lot more straightforward. Okay, so we also have our remaining guesses. So maybe we'll put that up here. Remaining guesses. We'll say 4 or something. That's some numerical value. And we have our hangman picture. So that just looks like this, right? Right, in this state. Do we have everything we need? No, boom, right? We need something like, it's not on this list, but it should be. Because how are they going to actually put something in here? So we have to have some sort of input. By the way, that Arthur, he's my new boss, so I was like, I'm stressed out. Okay, anyway. Yeah, thank you. Now, like, please interact. Okay. Right? If he comes in and I ask a question, if you don't know the answer, raise your left hand. If you want me to call on you, raise your right hand. Everyone can raise their hand. Yeah? If you want me, you can't tell him. You tell him I'm screwed. No. But if you raise your left hand, I will not call on you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, look at Elder. He's so uncomfortable with the idea. Okay. Okay. So we have an input. So this is, we'll say, input. Do we need anything with this input? What?
Do we need an
We could have a button, sure. Submit. What should the input be inside?
one string? I mean, one word. One letter. Sorry.
What? Yeah, that's what we're going to put into the input. I'm talking purely HTML. What might the input be inside? Form tag, right? Usually inputs are within form. That allows us so when we hit enter, it will be able to still fire. So we should also just make a little note that we're going to have this form.
This thing.
Can I repeat what I said about form?
Yes, it's about form as one.
So pretty much whenever you're dealing with inputs, it should be inside of a form. Almost always.
Can you create
Sorry?
sorry, but you can't create a form. Like
Yes, I
can you create one from data?
can I create one?
Can you create one from
Like document that create element form?
data? Yeah, instead of writing it on HTML.
Yeah. You can create any HTML. Good question. So in the form, have you know sometimes when you type something in and then you hit enter, like that's all you need to do? Yeah, that's because it's on submit. The form is listening for the submit. If you just put it on, if you don't have it inside of a form, you can enter, nothing will happen. Right.
I have a question about the word itself. Like, all the words, like 6 letters are under, or like, when it expands, if you have bigger in the word.
Great question. The question is about the word length and if it will expand. So it's going to expand. We're going to program this in a way that we do not care what the word length is. We just care that it has a length. If it has a length, we can build the word. Good question.
Is it recorded on?
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't crash. Right? Boom. That was such a pain in the neck yesterday. Very depressed about it. Okay. Okay. So you build this, right? Go ahead and build a set up the game function. So it's going to be called set up the game. And what I want this to do is create the main concepts. So I want us to go ahead and create like a guest so far element that is a UL. Right? So we'll do like a guest so far. I want you to create a board element that is a UL. Create a form, etc. Right? And everything. Okay? This is your first steps. Charger's not working. This charger's not working. No, it's okay. I'll take it first. Let's try this. This power definitely works, right? Okay. Business. Thank you. Yes, so far. So this is gonna hold all of our guesses that we guessed already. Okay, how would there any more time, or should we keep rolling? Rolling? Do we all agree or not agree? Rolling? raise your right hand if you're rolling. Okay. That was only like half. Okay. Do you need more time? No, we don't have to. It's not. We don't have to finish this today, but we can. I'm not attached either way. I already wrote it. Boom! You too, hopefully. Right? All right. Well, if you're not, then that's totally fine. But let's keep. Yeah, I'm gonna roll a little bit because then we'll have time to keep rolling. Okay, so the first thing it says is to keep track of guess so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a variable called guess so far. Let guess so far. What should this be? And what type of element do you want? A UL? I dig. Document dot create element, and we'll say a UL. Sweet. Let's give it an ID so we can grab it later. Yeah. So I'm gonna say guess so far dot ID, and maybe we should call it guess so far. Right? Look how consistent I am. You should be too, right? Pretend that you're the Rain Man, right? Wapner. Wapner's on at 7. Yeah. Let's go ahead and append this to our element, which is our actual div there. So I'll just say this dot L dot append child and pass in guessed so far. It's weird, my notes have me creating another element, but I guess I'll deal with that if we need it. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah. I think we have it. So we also need an element for the hangman, right? Okay. So that's what that other thing is. That's probably should be at the top of our board instead of the bottom, right? Yep. If we want to create a div. Mm-hmm.
So do we have like to append the?
If we didn't put a div in the HTML?
Yes, and we created it here.
Yeah, then we would append that to the body.
So basically we have to do it with this, like line 14, after we created it.
Yeah, we could go ahead and do that, but we did pass in that element, so we don't need, like, we already have a div in there. In case you didn't, yeah. Usually, though, like the pattern of game building with HTML, generally you have one starting div. For example, when you build like more sophisticated games, you can build it with something called canvas, and you start with one div. That's the canvas. That's like pretty normal. But yeah, you can still get around without it for sure. Sometimes you want other things on your screen too, so that's just kind of like the place that you want it. Okay, so let's actually create hangman pick as well. So I guess I can copy most of this stuff, yeah? And just change everywhere I have guessed so far, I'll just have it say hangman pick. Yeah, but I'll make it a good. You created a what? For the picture? Yeah, okay. What's wrong? Oh, I went too far. Got it. Thank you. Everyone, I was like, did not know it was wrong. Everyone was looking at me like I'm crazy. We were calling that guess so far, right? Sorry about that. My apologies. Okay. I could not figure out what was wrong. You've got no idea what it's like to have a whole room look at you like, what are you doing? And you're like, I don't know. I think I'm doing it right. Okay, so we've got the hangman pick. We've got the guests so far. Sweet. What else do we want to have that we said? We said we wanted a board that is a UL. So let's go ahead and create the board. That seems pretty good. I think I'm going to skip the remaining guesses because I think I'm just going to leave it with the hanging person. Okay, so we have our guess so far, and this will be, instead of that, we'll make it our board. Also giving that an ID and all that so I can really grab it. We need a form. Yeah, this method is definitely a bit beefy, but you know, oh well. So let's go ahead and create a form. So we'll say let form, and we'll give that document create element, and we'll say form. We should also create an input. So I'll change all my forms to input. I could add a button. I'm not going to add a button. I'm just going to make it so when I hit enter it works. Because when you're dealing with inputs, like you usually don't click the submit button probably. You probably hit enter. If not, you could easily add one. You should add one if you want. But just for a little bit of brevity, I'm not going to do that. Let's have our form append itself. So we'll say form. Ooh, it autocorrected. That append child. Let's go ahead and append our input. And then let's also go ahead and have our element append the form. Wow, that is a long method. Maybe too long, right? Maybe we could have split that up into more, but c'est la vie, as they say if you're in Celine's house. Okay, is c'est la vie French?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank God. I'm like, what if it's Latin? Celine's family has a lot of languages. London. Okay. And so in here, so if we want to actually see the board happen, we have to fire this function at some point. When would be a good idea to build a board, to build everything? When do we want to build this screen? Right away, yeah? So I guess I should probably call it from my constructor. So I like, you're close. So if I did this.game, I'm in the game instance. We are writing this inside the view instance. Setup game. I like it. Set it up. Set it up. And we will go back. We're in our old debugger. Let's refresh. Okay. Let's check the elements of our screen. Okay, we've got some stuff. It's like nothing's filled up with anything. So It looks like crap, but we do have our nice little input bar, right? So we are onto something. So okay, we could break this up into um, individual methods, so we could see that we have a board and all that. So let's go ahead and challenge you to write a display board method. Okay. I challenge you to write a display guest letters method. And lastly, I challenge you to create a display hangman method. Okay? That is the challenge. But it doesn't need to be pretty. Okay? It just needs to show. Um, I'm not really going to worry about styling anything tonight. Thank you. Yeah, the extension. Yeah. But still a good start. put this in my glasses case.
Yeah. Don't break it right now. The new one.
Well, sort of. You try not to get
That was the best thing ever.
I was so.
I told a friend, oh, my computer got started, and he was like, wow, he said, that thing is new. I was like, oh no, it's totally in my box. I do what I can. And he was like, what are you working with? I was like, I don't know.
So if you're having trouble starting, you're struggling to begin, helpful hint is like, hey, we did this already in the console, right? Where we were like printing console logging strings and whatnot. So there's a lot of things you could probably borrow from the way we already did it. Just adapt it so that it'll work for the browser.
How do I import the hangman pits into my file?
How did you import it last time? So we did that.
No, I mean, how do I get this file in mine?
What do you mean?
Oh, what is the command that it's like command? I think it's a command. Yeah, I think it's just something on. Oh, yay!
All right, are we doing all right? Should we keep spinning? Hey, Henry, you got something. That looks good. All right, let's keep spinning. Let's take these out one sucker at a time, eh? So first thing, hey now. If we're not going to use it anymore, but okay, display board. So let's go back and look at where did we display the board before? Anyone remember? Okay, well I think it was human player, but I might be wrong. Nope, it was human player. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this, even though I'm probably not going to use all of it. But I'm just gonna kind of have it for good times memory. And I'm gonna put it into my display board. And so right now, if I called like this dot display board, I would see the board. I'll just see it in the console, right? Which isn't exactly what I want. But I do have a UL for the board, yeah? So what's the first thing I need to do? I gotta go grab the UL. So I'm gonna get rid of this output because I don't need that anymore. I'm gonna select UL. And I'm gonna grab it with document dot query selector. And what do I put in here? Well, I called it board. I think it's not the only UL, so I can't do that. Okay, pretty up that. Okay, so then I should clear my board each time, otherwise it's going to keep stacking in. So I'm going to go ahead and say UL dot inner HTML is equal to an empty string. So this way, every time I call display board, it will like start from the very beginning. Otherwise, it would keep appending. And then we've got this nice loop, and we get what's supposed to go inside of it. But we know we need to make an element, right? What goes inside of my ULs? Li. So let's go ahead and make that. So let li equal document dot create element, and we'll say li. Li. Okay, and we can give that li the inner text of whatever we get back from our board. So because we used to update our output, instead we'll update li dot inner text. We'll say we want it to look like that. Yep. Inner HTML and inner text, is that what the question is? Okay, so the difference is inner HTML refers to all of the HTML. So that's tags, that's like div tag, that's an HTML, right? So the UL inside of it has LIs. Text refers to literally text. So if you write inner text, even if it has children, you'll just see the text. If you say inner HTML, you see everything. So this clears out all of the LIs. Is it a joke? Okay, then.
When you say everything, you mean the HTML tags or literally within the div
Everything.
with the tags?
Yep. The only thing inside of that UL is nothing now.
In
I've reassigned everything.
in the loop, right?
Yep.
For me, I wrote almost the same, but when it says I is less than 4 I put this stop for when it makes a big difference.
We don't have a this right now. We have a, so before, yeah, so our display board before took something in. It took a board in as an argument. So I'm going to say that my board will default to this.game.board. That's something we'll make. So you're partially right. If you didn't do this, then yeah, this would have to say this.game.board. Okay, let's append our li into our ul. So we'll say ul.append child, and we'll pass in our li. Pretty tight. And we'll get rid of this console log because there's no output anymore. And let's see if this worked. So inside of our setup game, let's also, just to test, we'll say this.display board, invoke it, and see if we have a board. We do, right? Looks like crap, but it is a board. It's not too much of a stretch of the imagination to think about taking off the list styles, putting a display flex on there, causing it to be a row, and boom, it looks just like this, yeah? I can demonstrate what that would look like real quick. If I just click on the UL, right, I could do something like this style, none, display, flex, margin, let's say 10 pixels. Oh, okay, that's on the, get rid of that margin, and then on our LIs, for the LIs in general, it's gonna let me, just like margin, 5 pixels. I'm only doing it on one, but you can see that it's giving itself some space, yeah? So you do that for all the LIs, bada bing, bada boom, right? But for now, I'm just gonna leave it at that because I'm not worried about styling. Okay, next task was display guest letters. So how do we do that? Display guest letters. How are we going to do that? Where do we have game? The hangman picks are a separate concept from the guest letters. But that's all right. What else? Where do we have a list of guest letters? Guess so far, and but where does all that information live? In game, right? Let's go back to our game class. Let's explore. We look at game, and we have guest letters, right? This is an array that we used to just print out in a join. So let's go ahead and do that kind of concept for our field. Right, so I could do the same kind of logic here. So if I have guest letters in here, I have to go grab my guess so far. So I'll say let guesses equals document dot query selector, and we'll say guess so far. We can clear this out the same way that we cleared out the last one. So guesses.inner HTML equal to empty string. Now I know we're using a UL, and so I was originally going to do this differently, but I'm almost thinking I could just do like guesses.inner text and make it something like this.game.guest letters, right? This is going to give me that array, and then I could just join it like that with a comma, space. That might end up working. We'll see it later. If it doesn't work, we'll go back. And then we should also have a display hangman. So we have, how did we display our hangman before? Do we remember? So we imported hangman text here. Might need this again. And then when we actually went to play it, we printed out it right here, right? Hangman at this.guess was remaining. So we could do the same logic in view. But we need to import it first. I don't know why that's up there. So let's go ahead and paste const. And so instead of const, we want to do this in ES6 style import from. Okay, and now we have access to all those pics. It won't look pretty on the screen, but that's okay because we're just kind of trying to make it relatively quickly. Yeah. And so let's go ahead and grab our hangman. So we'll say document.query selector, and we can say, I think we call it hangman, right? Is that what we called it? Do we remember? Let's look. It was in our setup. Hangman pick. And we can just straight up assign its inner text here. I don't think we need to save it to a variable necessarily. It's all doing the same type of thing. And then we can grab our array of picks. Hangman picks. I think I called it that. And we can key into that at this.game.guesses remaining. Let's save that. Did I misspell? Remaining. Okay, so let's go ahead and run all of these. So we have this.display board, this.display guest letters, this.display display hangman, invoke them all. The letters one, we're not going to see anything because we haven't guessed any letters yet. But we'll refresh, and we see the semblance of some kind of empty hanging thing. We have our our board, and we have our input. And we also have our letters guessed so far up here. We just can't see them. They're right here. Okay, so we actually have something visually on the screen. So that's on its way. So what's the next step? What's our next step? Make a guess. Okay. Okay, so if I make a guess right now, let's see what happens. I type an H in and I hit enter. It just refreshes. Why is it just refreshing? What do you mean by that? Tell me more. Why does it refresh on a form submission? Why? It's the default behavior because have we told it what to do? No. So right now, does our game have any event listeners? No. So our game kind of sucks right now, right? There's nothing I can do as a human. So the next thing we got to do is we got to bind our events. Yeah? Okay. So I want you to go ahead and create a bind events. And go ahead and think about what needs to happen, what the event we're listening for is, and what we're going to need to update. Okay, so try to work on this one. Oh, I imported our internet, so I have access to that already. And then I keyed into this document that I guess is remaining. Okay, I'm going to stop the video and start a new video.